저희 마지막으로 모실 분은 중국에서 오셨는데 IoT 체인이라는 프로젝트고요. 네, 사물인터넷을 이용한 블록체인, 네, IoT 체인, 말 그대로 IoT 체인이고요. 우리 실생활에서 지금 IoT가 많이 쓰이고 있는데 이를 더 어떻게 개선하고 블록체인으로 더 저희한테 도움을 줄 수 있는 그런 솔루션을 제공할지 IoT 체인의 코파운더인 피터 류를 이 자리에 모시도록 하겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hi everyone, it's a great honor to be here to introduce our project IoT Chain to you. And thanks for Hashed and HomePro to prepare this great place and chance to let me introduce our project to you. And I have to say sorry because you have to Okay. And I have to say sorry first because you have to endure my poor English. And forgive me if I need some help from my friends. Okay. And let me introduce myself. I'm a co-founder of IoT Chain, and our CEO Lero is also here today. And when he found me last year March, I was in Xiaomi, the Chinese cell phone company. I was in charge of the Xiaomi blockchain group. Those times we use a blockchain to solving the data sharing problem. And when I found that blockchain could bring lots of value to IoT industry, I decided to leave Xiaomi and start this project with our CEO Lero. Okay. And we think that the future is the future society is made up by IoT. Our life will be surrounded with IoT devices, like the robots, the first project mentioned. Our life may follow all kinds of robots, from very small cup to a big house. All the devices need an OS to connect to the internet. Yeah. And this is growth compares from PC, mobile phone, and IoT devices. We can find that the personal computer has been the history, and the mobile phones is the growth of mobile phone also slows down. The mobile internet is not growing that fast as before. But the IoT devices, the IoT industry, it's still growing very fast, very rapidly. And by 2021, among the whole world's 28 billion connection devices, there will be 60 billion of them will be IoT devices. So the IoT industry will be the future. And it's the market cap when in 2021 there will be 253 billion USD market cap. And we believe that the future society is IoT is made up by IoT devices. Your life is surrounded by IoT devices. When you are driving to home, and your air condition will start work for you before you come to home, and your camera know what's happening in your home, and the IoT devices know where you are, what are you doing. IoT will make our life much more convenient, much more intelligent, but at the same time, the safety problem is more and more serious. For example, the mirror virus, it turned thousands of devices into controlled robots. With this controlled robots, the hacker could start a network attack like DDoS. The mirror virus that time that DDoS the DNS server of Twitter. that time the Twitter is broken down by the mirror virus, and the other safety problem is the data safety. You know, all your data is collected by the IoT devices. They know everything, and and if the data is not prepared well, and if the hacker know if you are at home, they will have chance to do many bad things that we can't accept. So we can find that there are two challenges we can conclude. And one is the safety problem, because the traditional IoT architecture, the devices are connected to a centralized server. Your devices, your smart devices, are controlled by the centralized server. Let me take an example. Just some days happened in China. A user bought a camera from a China company. It's also a Nasdaq company, 360. And after he bought a camera, the camera is opened by the server, and his life become a live show. It's very horrible. Ironically, that company is a safety company. So the control right of the device is the first safety problem. And the second safety problem is that the data problem I just mentioned. And in our architecture, we use blockchain to build a decentralized network. There's no central servers, and your device is controlled by the authorized your cell phone. Like only the authorized cell phone could control your device. And we adopted the asymmetric encryption and semi-homomorphic encryption, so that our data can be protected. So in IoT chain, we mainly solve these two kind of safety problem. And the second challenge is the high cost. You know, when a manufacturer, when a company he sells out his product, he sells his smart product, and with the amount of the product he sells, he have to pay more cost to maintain the server cost. You know that in China, these smart companies, they have to pay a lot to Aliyun or Amazon or Baidu Yun, because they have to afford the server cost. But in blockchain architecture, it's pretty interesting, because the company who sells the devices, they don't have to consider about the storage cost or the server cost. In the network, the witness node or the other node who provide the server or storage, this node, they will afford the storage and the server, because they could get transaction fees, and those transactions are generated from the common user, not from the companies, the manufacturers who sells product to user. So it's very interesting. So in blockchain architecture, the cost for those companies or manufacturers is very low. So we can find that there are two advantages blockchain solutions could bring in. One is the high security, the other is low cost. And when we adapt the traditional blockchain technology into IoT industry, we found there are four challenges we are facing. The first is the resource consumption. You know the traditional blockchain like Bitcoin or Ethereum. Ethereum. You have the computing task for each node is pretty high, and IoT devices usually have low computing ability. And the second problem is the data expansion. You know the blockchain in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Even you want to start a client in your personal computer, you have to down many data before you could start a transaction. The third problem is the performance. You know, when we're talking about performance, there are two numbers we want to tell. One is the TPS, transaction per second. The other number is the confirmation time. You know, in Bitcoin, the confirmation time is 10 minutes, and in Ethereum, the confirmation time is 12 minutes. 12 seconds. This performance is not suitable. Is not suitable to IoT industry, and the last challenge we are facing is the partition tolerance. In IoT industry, the devices could be online or could be offline very quickly, very frequently. This will generate network shocks. And in IoT chain architecture, we use these basic concepts, use this basic technology to solve some problems. And our consensus architecture is SPPFT. There's opinion that some people may think that PPFT is only suitable to permissioned blockchain because the PPFT algorithm, there will every turn of vote there will be multiple rounds of online communication to make each vote. So the bottleneck for PPFT algorithm is the bandwidth. But we have found that there are some new algorithms have coming out, like hash graph. In the new PPFT algorithm, the bottleneck for bandwidth is no more the challenge. And we use simple payment verification, which is pretty common in Bitcoin or Ethereum and other blockchain projects. And our transaction data structure is DAG. It's a blockless structure in which the transaction just into the whole order without the process of block generating. It's not like the Bitcoin or Ethereum. And the last CPS is much about the modularization. We divided the architecture of our blockchain into some parts, like the consensus part, the structure, the data transaction structure part, and the smart contract machine part. So by proper modularization, the architecture could be adapted into more situations. And this is a performance analysis for some. As I have said, we focus on two numbers, which is TPS, and the other is the confirmation time. In IoT chain, our goal of speed of IoT chain, our goal of confirmation time is millisecond. and as I have said, someone maybe think that the BFT in BFT algorithm, the nodes who participate in the consensus is limited, but in new algorithm like HashGraph or like our SPBFT, the nodes who the amount of nodes who participate to build the algorithm is more than 100. So it's not correct. They think PBFT is only suitable for permissionless public chain. It's also suitable to public blockchain. And we have extract the two parts which the chip, the module should do. One is the identity to each IoT device. That's something like the private key, public key, and the address. That's also the same as Bitcoin or Ethereum. The other is the data processing. You have to, the chip, the smart device have to sign in the data, encrypting the data, or uploading the data. So there will be two parts which the chip, the module take part. One is the identity, the other is the data processing. So our OS could be adapted to the very low computing devices. And how do a common device become a device in our network? We'll adapt our chip into a common equipment, and then the device has the ability to interact to the blockchain network. And if you need, you could use our mobile app to interact with the device. And our CEO Lero, he ran a company for 4 years. That is a traditional IoT company. What that company do is that to a normal device, when it is integrated with the module that company created, the device could be changed to a smart device. And what we are doing now is that besides the traditional module focus on the turn a common device to smart device, and we add the blockchain part, which I mentioned, the two parts, into the chip. And when the chip is integrated into a common device, a device could be enjoy the benefits the blockchain brings. And here's some competitiveness of IoT chain and to other projects like IoTA, like Slockage. The most frequently question is that what's the difference between IoT chain and IoTA? I think IoTA make a standard API to so that common device manufacturers, they could adapt to that API, but you need hire some blockchain engineers. But so the cost is pretty high. In our plan, we just do this work into chip. So the device companies, they just adapted our chip into their device, so the device could be integrated in our network. And one more thing is that we think the IoTA is not decentralized enough. You know, in IoTA, the validator nodes IoTA code, that part has not been open sourced, and MIT do some experiments and find they found that IoT is not centralized. In blockchain, if you are not centralized, if you are not decentralized, that means you are not safe enough. Finally, is our team member, our CEO, Larry, is also here, and me, and our CTO has a lot of experience in hardware, and our CFO is very professional. And our team members are mainly from Chinese internet company like Baidu, like Alibaba, like Xiaomi. That's all. Thank you.
네, 혹시 IoT 체인 관련해서 질문 있으신 분들 손 들어주시면 제가 마이크 갖다 드리겠습니다. Any questions? Okay, there's one.
Thank you for the presentation. What is the next development of your project? What stage are you?
We have completed the data structure. That is the DAGE part. The next work we have to do is to make the network be a real decentralized network. That's the SPBFT part. So our major task we are doing now is to make this network be decentralized enough. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
네, 다른 분 질문 있으십니까? Other questions you want to ask? IoT chain? Thank you. 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.